At -20 degrees Celsius, exposed skin begins to hurt. At -40, frostbite can develop rapidly. Below -60, machines fail, fuel thickens, and every breath becomes a warning. But the coldest places on Earth go even further. This ranking uses directly recorded near-surface air temperatures. Satellite measurements have found Antarctic ice surfaces close to -98 degrees Celsius, but surface temperature and standard air temperature are not the same measurement. To keep the list consistent, those satellite readings are not ranked against thermometer records. These are the 10 coldest entries ever directly recorded on Earth. Number 10, Verkhoyansk and Oymyakon, Russia, approximately -67.8 degrees Celsius. The first entry is shared by two Siberian settlements known as the rival poles of cold. Verkhoyansk recorded -67.8 degrees Celsius in February 1892. Oymyakon reached approximately the same extreme in February 1933. Both sit in terrain where dense, frigid air sinks and becomes trapped during long, clear winter nights. These are not automated stations or abandoned camps. People live here permanently. Vehicles may be kept running because restarting a frozen engine is difficult, water pipes are often impractical, and exposed metal can injure bare skin. Verkhoyansk is also known for summers above 30 degrees Celsius, creating one of the largest temperature ranges experienced by an inhabited place. Number 9, Klink, Greenland, -69.6 degrees Celsius. On December 22, 1991, an automatic weather station named Klink recorded -69.6 degrees Celsius in the middle of the Greenland ice sheet. The measurement was not formally recognized until decades later. After examining the instruments, station records, and atmospheric conditions, the World Meteorological Organization confirmed it in 2020 as the lowest directly observed near-surface air temperature in the Northern Hemisphere. Klink sits at roughly 3,100 meters above sea level. Clear skies, very light wind, dry air, and high elevation allow the surface to lose heat rapidly. With little atmospheric mixing, the coldest air remained trapped close to the ice. There is no permanent town here, only an automatic station surrounded by a frozen horizon. Number 8, Dome Fuji Station, Antarctica, -79.7 degrees Celsius. Dome Fuji is a Japanese research station on one of the highest parts of the East Antarctic ice sheet. During station observations in the 1990s, the air temperature fell to -79.7 degrees Celsius. The site stands roughly 3,810 meters above sea level and about 1,000 kilometers from the coast. Its position on a broad ice dome means winds are often weaker than on Antarctica's steep coastal slopes. Under clear winter skies, the snow surface loses heat rapidly while an intense temperature inversion traps the coldest air close to the ground. Satellite instruments have found even colder ice surfaces in the wider region, but those remote sensing values are not directly comparable with this air temperature record. Number 7, Dome Argus, Antarctica, -82.5 degrees Celsius. Now the list moves into a completely different level of cold. Dome Argus, usually called Dome A, is the highest point of the Antarctic ice sheet. An automatic weather station recorded -82.5 degrees Celsius there in July 2005. The site is more than 4,000 meters above sea level, but because air pressure is lower near the poles, the human body experiences conditions similar to an even higher mountain. The atmosphere is extremely dry, the winter is dark, and the surrounding landscape is almost perfectly silent. Dome A is not a city or a conventional base. It is a remote scientific site on a high ice dome where cold air forms under clear skies and weak winds. Number 6, Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, -82.8 degrees Celsius. The geographic South Pole is home to the American Amundsen Scott Station. In June 1982, it recorded -82.8 degrees Celsius. During the Antarctic winter, the sun disappears for months. The station becomes physically isolated, and aircraft normally cannot arrive until conditions improve. Outside, the air is so cold and dry that frost can damage exposed tissue rapidly. The South Pole stands at an elevation of about 2,835 meters, but the thin polar atmosphere makes it feel physiologically higher. Despite the conditions, scientists continue working through the winter in astronomy, atmospheric science, seismology, and climate research. Number 5, Komsomolskaya Station, Antarctica, -83.0 degrees Celsius. Komsomolskaya was a Soviet inland research station established in East Antarctica in 1957. The station stood about 3,500 meters above sea level on the supply route between Mirny and Vostok. During the polar winter, it recorded -83.0 degrees Celsius. Komsomolskaya was an essential staging point for early Soviet exploration of the Antarctic interior. Fuel, equipment, and personnel passed through the station on long tractor journeys across the ice sheet. At -83, diesel systems, lubricants, batteries, and exposed machinery require constant protection. The station eventually closed, but the site continued to serve as a fuel stop for traverses heading deeper into the continent. Number 4, Concordia Station, Dome C, Antarctica. Approximately -84.7 degrees Celsius. Concordia Station sits on Dome C, deep inside the East Antarctic Plateau. A temperature of approximately -84.7 degrees Celsius was recorded there in August 2010. The French-Italian research base is around 1,100 kilometers from the coast. During winter, its crew is isolated for months, making the station useful for studying the physical and psychological effects of long-duration space missions. The air is exceptionally dry, the elevation is above 3,200 meters, and winter darkness allows the snow surface to radiate heat away continuously. At these temperatures, ordinary materials behave differently. Plastic can crack, cables become rigid, and a small mechanical failure outside the station can become immediately dangerous. Number 3, Plateau Station, Antarctica, -86.2 degrees Celsius. Plateau Station was an American research base that operated in East Antarctica during the 1960s. On July 20, 1968, it recorded -86.2 degrees Celsius, colder than the South Pole and Concordia Station. The base operated for only a few years, but its climate data showed how extreme the high Antarctic interior could become. The area had weak winds, high elevation, very little moisture, and long winter darkness. These conditions allowed heat to escape from the snow surface while the coldest air remained near the ground. Plateau Station was eventually abandoned, leaving its structures buried and surrounded by drifting snow. Its record remains one of the lowest air temperatures ever measured directly. Number 2, Sovetskaya Station, Antarctica, -86.7 degrees Celsius. Sovetskaya was a short-lived Soviet research station on the high East Antarctic Plateau. It opened in February 1958 during the International Geophysical Year and operated for less than 11 months. On August 9, 1958, the station recorded -86.7 degrees Celsius. At the time, it was the lowest temperature ever directly observed on Earth. Sovetskaya stood roughly 3,660 meters above sea level. Its high elevation, dry atmosphere, weak winds, and months of winter darkness created ideal conditions for intense radiative cooling. The station closed in January 1959, but its record still exceeds almost every other direct air temperature measurement. Only one location has produced a confirmed lower reading. Number 1, Vostok Station, Antarctica, -89.2 degrees Celsius. The coldest directly measured air temperature on Earth was recorded at Vostok Station on July 21, 1983, -89.2 degrees Celsius. Vostok is a Russian research station on the East Antarctic Plateau, about 3,420 meters above sea level. Beneath the station lies Lake Vostok, a huge body of liquid water sealed below roughly 4 kilometers of ice. The record occurred during the polar night under extremely dry, clear, and calm conditions. Heat escaped rapidly from the ice surface, and dense cold air collected close to the ground. At -89.2, exposed skin can freeze extremely quickly, breathing is painful, and equipment must be specially designed just to function. Satellite instruments have detected Antarctic ice surface temperatures close to -98 degrees Celsius in shallow hollows between Dome A and Dome Fuji. But those are surface readings, not standard air temperature measurements. For a directly measured air temperature, Vostok remains the official world record holder. From inhabited Siberian valleys to isolated stations on the Antarctic Plateau, these places reveal the lower limits of Earth's climate. And the most extreme cold does not require a storm. It often forms under clear skies, weak winds, dry air, high elevation, and months without sunlight. Which location would be the hardest to survive for one full winter? Subscribe to Peak Selects for more extreme places, records, and unexplained corners of our planet.